This guy
Yeah,
should have been a cop because he was like, ma'am, is that you on the TV with 7 bodies in your front yard?
Some of the information you are about to hear, some may find disturbing. What police found in the soil was this: 7 bodies wrapped up in sheets and duct tape. They had to drink each other's blood.
You're not making this shit up, right?
Welcome to Two Guys, One Crime.
Welcome, everybody, back to the podcast. This is the new and improved podcast of Two Guys, One Crime. No longer Botox with Big Jim. Still the same fat Mexicans that you were listening to before, just a different name.
just to clarify, I'm chubby. I'm not fat. I'm chubby.
Excuse me. Yeah, no. Yeah. I mean, you can be fat, you know. You can be PHAT, pretty hot and tempting.
Yeah, well, no, that's all right. I'm way out of that phase.
Are you?
I have no Oh, dude, me and Mom were talking about when we had to go get Javen his outfit for the winter formal with Gabby, and Javen looking at me like, why is Mom gonna take me? And I said, look, dude, if it was up to me, I have no dress. I have no fashion. If it was up to me, you'd be going in fucking jeans and a white t-shirt that's brand new and maybe iron. Other than that,
maybe
you better
iron.
take your mom. Maybe iron. You better ask your mom. I have no style. I have no clout. I am perfect for post-apocalyptic shit because I ain't got no nice clothes to lose. I ain't got nothing nice to lose.
You are a post-apocalyptic guy. All you have are cargo shorts, cargo pants, and a shirt with pockets.
Yeah, and a vest.
And like
hoodie.
19 backpacks.
I am down to one go bag that's in my closet that I just went through the other night.
Jeez.
And the only reason why I went through because now here is my
you liquidated your bags, dude?
Son, this is how fucking picky and silly it is. I was looking at my guns and I'm like, well, which one do I want to put in this bag? It's the freaking firearm. It's not to kill nobody. It's just for self-defense and maybe whatever the post-apocalyptic shit is. Who knows? But yeah, I had to put one in there. I just didn't know which one I want. Don't ask me why, dude. Don't ask me why. It was a decision between which firearm and which wipes would be better.
Wipes?
Antibacterial. What
would be better? Self-defense or cleaning my ass?
Hey, chafe ass is not comfortable in any lifestyle.
Oh, that's true. That's very true. I hate chafing. There's been a few times where there's some underwear that I refuse. I have underwear that I refuse to wear unless I am doing something at home. But I will not wear these specific underwear to work because, dude, it just feels like someone is taking a nylon rope between my thighs and just going back and forth with it. Like it hurts. And I got thick thighs. This shit's not fun. It's not comfortable. It hurts.
Dude, I can't tell you how excited I was growing up when boxer briefs were first
invented,
available. Yes. Tidy whities, I hated them.
The nut huggers?
Boxers, I hated them because my pants would always sag or there's no leg elastic.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck. So sometimes I would just wear shorts, just regular shorts, like how people wear shorts now under pants, baggy clothes. I used to wear shorts under my clothes all the freaking time.
Jesus, I can't
as
do that.
underwear.
I can't do that.
Uh, yeah,
I've tried that, but it's even that's really uncomfortable. Well, for me, I'm not a big fan of it.
well, dude, we're shaped like fucking pears. Our midsection's totally wide. We have no fucking ass. Our hips are like just two pieces. They're like fucking drywall. They're
Yeah.
just there. We have no body structure.
That is
So
true.
when I have to wear, yeah. So like I said, boxer briefs were the greatest invention for my genre.
Agreed. And now I'm actually we're stuck on talking about underwear. I'm actually
Brought to you by two guys, one crime. It's
yeah,
a crime wearing tidy whities.
yeah. And boxers. But no, dude, I got into wearing like dry fit underwear now. Like
That's all I wear.
the not motion, the athletic
Moisture.
ones.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
moisture wick. Yeah.
dude, so comfortable.
Yep.
It keeps heat in, keeps all the giblies warm. It's nice, man. You don't chafe, especially the with the long ones that kind of go just above the knee. You don't chafe at
Yeah.
all. It's perfect.
Son, those are called what are they called? 10-incher. 10-inch thigh shorts.
Hell yeah, that's right.
That's the only 10-inch you and I are ever gonna recognize. Sorry.
Hey
It's
man,
not gonna happen.
it sounds good. Okay, fake it till you make it.
Well, I've been faking it for a long time. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with your mom.
Well, um, before we go any further, yeah. So for those who don't know, who weren't a part of our live episode, I guess you can call it, the other day, um, we changed our name. It's now two guys, one crime. Obviously, it's just two dudes bullshitting, but it's a lot more appealing to listeners. It's a lot more appealing to followers. It's a lot easier to type in. I'm slowly in the process of changing everything. So by the time this episode comes out, you'll see on Spotify that it's two guys, one crime. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts. It's all slowly integrating, migrating, interchanging. There's a lot of ings that I don't know, but it's doing that.
Johnny Ing, Charlie Ing, Lisa
Yeah.
Ing.
Sorry. We got a few more listeners from the good old UK, good old England. Hello, governor. Specifically from the United Kingdom area. We got England, Northern Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. And if you remember a few episodes back, we did a story based out of Wales with the Bullseye Killer.
Mhm.
Yeah. So thank you. Hello. Cheerio.
And we had an interview from one of the brewmasters who's from Scotland.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
That was Greg Hamilton of Idle Beer Company over here in Lodi, California. If go check out that place. Is great beer, great food. It's a really cool atmosphere. Please go check it out. Also, thank you for everyone in California. I mean, most of our listeners are from California anyways, and we got a few more in Washington State, Virginia, and Arizona. Chip
Thank
cheerio. Hello. So yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you for the last episode. Man, that one kind of not blew up, but it's doing pretty good. People were excited that we came back. One of them specifically was Mr. Joel Munoz. He chimed in and he was like, "Oh man, I couldn't wait to fucking hear this. It was awesome. It was great." So yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, he's always been a big supporter of ours.
Real quick before we get started, please be sure to head over to our flow page. That's flow.page/2guys1crime. I was able to change it from what it was before. That name shall not be used anymore. It is dead and gone. It is now Two Guys One Crime flow page. There you can support us with following us, leaving a review on Spotify, which is really cool. Now I'm really shocked that they finally did that. It's not necessarily a review that you can say whether you hate it or like it, but you can rate us between 1 and 5 stars. And we really appreciate it if you could follow us on there and give us 5 stars. Be great.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. It's not a money a what do you call that? A denomination awareness or whatever, but it's just notifying people that we're not full of shit and try giving us a listen.
Just a little, just a little while. You might like it. Who knows?
Maybe.
This is a comedy/true crime podcast hosted by a father and son, as you could tell. And like I said, you can follow us on all the social medias: Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. We even have a Facebook group page. But I run the Instagram and TikTok account. You'll see a couple cool videos from there. Big Jim, my dad over here, runs the Twitter account. So if you like to talk to him, head over to Twitter at Two Guys One Crime, or head over to Instagram at Two Guys One Crime Podcast. Before we get started, I do want to do one fun fact, and this is for the San Franciscans. Hello, chip chip cheerio. I'm going to say that throughout the whole show. In San Francisco, it is illegal. Remember that. It is a crime. You can get in trouble for this. To pet a bear, a gorilla, a crocodile, or any other wild animal. And that is just a state law in general. And if you didn't know that was a law, now you do.
That's in California.
That's in California.
Illegal to pay. Well,
yeah.
We don't have very many gators out here unless they're behind a wall.
Crocodile, not a gator.
We don't have those either.
We have the white crocodile over in the San Francisco
Talk about the wild.
That's a wild animal.
It's a wild contained animal. Gonna jump over those walls to get in that aquarium, they deserve to get their ass bit.
So this story, it's a well-known story. It's a well-known person. You've heard about this person. You've seen stories about this person. You watched shows about this person in association with their property. I've seen it. I've been near this place. It's in Sacramento. You've been to Sacramento, I'm sure, a number of times. Are you ready for this episode?
Yeah, fuck yeah! I've been waiting for this for months.
You know this one. Everyone knows this one. This is a big episode. I have compacted it, so if I am missing information, there's reasons why. This, ladies and gentlemen, is chip chip cheerio, Dorothea Puente. Disclaimer: the following episode is intended for a mature audience. This is a somewhat of a graphic episode. It contains adult content, graphic language, scamming old people. That's not funny. It also involves littering, sexual content, and 2 pear-shaped Mexicans. Hello, chip chip cheerio. Just 2 hours from the San Francisco is the town or city known as Sacramento. Population of just over 500,000 people. It's widely known for the gold rush back in the day. Widely known for the Great Fire that pretty much demolished all of Sacramento. Haunted locations, and as well as Dorothea Puente's home. And
it's our state capital, kid.
Yeah, and it's our state capital. It's also known for its serial killers, one of which being Dorothea Puente. She is on the outside what looks to be a sweet old lady. She looks just like a grandma. That's it. White hair, big old glasses. I mean, no taller than what, 5'3", maybe even shorter.
She was a very frail elderly woman. at the time of the majority of the story. Yeah, she wasn't very old. She started doing crimes beforehand, but yeah.
Yeah, she was doing crimes before that, but before we get to the meat of this story,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
understand who exactly she was. So Dorothea Puente was actually known as Dorothea Helen Gray. She was born in Redlands, California on January 9th, 1929. She was born from the father, Jesse James Gray, badass name, who unfortunately died of tuberculosis when Dorothea was just 8 years old. Her mother, Trudy May Yates, died a year later of a motorcycle accident. So at 9 years old, she was an orphan and an only child. Later in her years as a young teen, she became an alcoholic and was very abusive. And this is where she began to learn how to scam people. Now, it doesn't take much um, for anyone really to know how to play people. My fucking kid does it to me all the time. Okay? It's not hard.
I told you, dude, that's baby Constantine right there.
Dorothea would forge checks and make money throughout her life. Obviously, by forging a check, you write down fake number, fake name, and there you go. You got $1,500 cash. And back then, in the 40s, 50s, you're walking around with even $200. You're big balling.
Yeah. Yeah.
She would eventually would collect Social Security checks from others later on in life. If you don't know what that means, she would get money that someone worked hard for, and she would then take that money and say, fuck you, and then walk off with that money. As I said, she's been on her own for years, since she was 9 years old. She's now 16 in 1945, and Dorothea tried being a prostitute in Olympia, Washington. Unfortunately, it was not like it's not like America's Got Talent and they fucking buzzed her off the show. You're not sucking a good dick, Dorothea. You're not getting the golden buzzer today. You're not going to Vegas.
Oh shit.
And when she was there at 16 years old in Olympia, Washington, she met Fred McFall. The pair then married each other. Now, this was only for 3 years. And Fred, mind you, at the time, was 35 years old. Say it one more time.
35 years old.
35 years old. And he married a 16-year-old teenager. Safe to say, her life wasn't very good. Not a good upbringing. Both parents dead, on your own, and now you're marrying a dude 20 some odd years your elder.
Hey man, it happened a lot. I'm sure it happened more than we recognize or whatever's in the books.
The pair, Fred and Dorothea, eventually had two girls, two daughters, who Dorothea immediately was like, I'm not raising either one of these girls. And she literally shipped like a fucking Amazon package, one of them off to a family members and the other to an orphanage.
You know, it was legal to ship babies via the UPS postal service in the turn of the century.
Bullshit.
No, early 1900s, you used to be able to ship a baby through the post mail.
You put a baby in a box and they're like, hey,
I don't know
does it
how
have
they ship
stamps?
them. Maybe you put them in a burlap sack with holes in it. I don't fucking know.
What the fuck? No, I did
Yeah,
not
but it
know
was
that.
legal.
After sending the other one to adoption, they obviously got, like I said, got divorced, Fred and Dorothea, in 1948. Just after that, Dorothea went and lived in Southern California. And this is also the first time where she was arrested for bouncing a check. Obviously, if you don't know what bouncing a check is, she writes a false check to try and get money, and it bounces off of that system and says, this is not real. Where is this money coming from? This is fake. You are now arrested.
But prior to that, in the process of verifying funds, banks used to actually give you the greenbacks back then, before it was confirmed. And by that time,
You were
You were
gone.
long gone and probably spent the money. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was called baby. Not to go change, but real quick, it was called baby mailing, and it was used the beginning part of 1913.
I'm so glad we have evolved as people. You want you want a baby? Sure, sign up now and you get 50% off of a Mexican baby or a fucking I don't know, a Caucasian baby. After bouncing that check, Dorothea spent about 4 months in the San Bernardino jail. She was required to serve probation there, but like a good old girl, she skipped out on it. Fuck that, I ain't doing no probation. and uh, just what is that? 4 years later, in 1952, Dorothea made her way to San Francisco, where she met a Swedish man uh, who would be her next husband. Yeah, Axel Beren Johnson. I think I messed up that name,
A
but
little bit.
Axel Bren Johansson. Johansson. It's Swedish. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not long into the marriage, the pair would argue. They would frequently get into fights, and Dorothea, actually, at this point in time, started to drink more heavily than she did before. She did drink as a young girl, as a young adult, but by this time she was just throwing them back, like she was taking handles to the face, and then gambling. She was also a big gambler. As I said before, she did partake as a uh, prostitute, but unfortunately, Simon Cowell did not pass her, and and she tried doing this again in San Francisco. She unfortunately got arrested. Not unfortunately, but she got arrested while trying to give a undercover cop a genuine handshake.
I'd like to formally meet you. My name is Dorothea.
Yeah. Let me just reach for your crotch area and shake it real quick. But this actually was the longest relationship that she had. Um, it was about 14 years after that Dorothea eventually left Axel and dropped him faster than Swedish meatballs at IKEA, which, by the way, are hella good. And then at the age of 37 in 1966, this is where she met and kept the name Roberto Puente.
That's the name that she took over. Yeah.
That's the name that she took over. So, for those who in case you forgot, she was known as Dorothea Gray. And then years later, in 1966, she met Roberto Puente. No, Puente.
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 She wanted to do exactly what she did before. She wanted to treat him basically like a John, and she was a prostitute, and then they ended up staying together for a very long time. Apparently, Roberto had a spicy chorizo. Uh,
She had a great how to meet you shake.
yeah. Hola, ¿cómo estás? They actually met in Mexico City. Traveling back then with Dorothea was pretty easy. I mean, San Francisco, Washington, Mexico City. She was going everywhere. Now, here's the crazy part, though. In 1966, Dorothea was 37. In 1966, Roberto was 18.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so she knows now she's cradle robbing. I mean,
I didn't know that. I thought he was older.
he was 18. Actually, in 1968, excuse me, he was 18 years old.
Damn, he was a kid, baby still.
And I mean, it's that crazy apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, you know.
No.
You know, that was her first relationship with a dude who was actually 35 when she was 16. And
It's
based
a
off
pattern. Yeah, it's a repeated pattern.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
unfortunate,
yeah.
but that's what they know. This marriage with Dorothea and Roberto only lasted about 2.5 years, so it was very short lived. They did not have children, but they did get married. However, when they split, Robert did not want to have a divorce, so he fled back to Mexico. So that's the whole reason why she still went by Dorothea Puente, because they never divorced. He was just like, all right, peace. I'm out of here. I'm going back home. And then this is where just a few years later, just a year later, excuse me, she met her fourth and final husband. Mind you, she married all these people. You know,
Yeah.
she married Axel, she married Robert, she married Fred. She married so many people. She was worse than almost worse than Kim Kardashian. But she met her husband Pedro Montevideo. Montalvo.
Montevideo.
Montevideo. There we go. But this was even this is the shortest relationship that she had in all. The pair only lasted 5 months. But just before they split, Dorothea came into owning a 3-story boarding house in Sacramento. And here is where hell welcomed all those who entered. This was known as the Murder House. In 1970, Dorothea purchased a 16-bedroom boarding home. Crazy. 16 fucking bedrooms. That's insane.
Probably dirt cheap too.
Had to have been. Had
Dirt
to have been.
cheap.
In the 70s,
Yeah.
easily.
Mm.
This home, if anybody is interested in visiting, which you can do, obviously with COVID restrictions going on, it might be a little difficult. But it is at 1426 F Street, Sacramento. Go ahead and Google that, people. Dorothea took in homeless people, drug addicts, alcoholics. I mean, even mental patients. She brought them
Majority
in.
were mental. Yeah.
Yeah, and most of them were that. But she welcomed them in because it was a boarding home. She had 16 freaking rooms. What is she gonna do with that? One person. She had 2 children, but she didn't take care of them, obviously. So she thought, well, let me take care of these people. Let me see. You know, they're a little less fortunate than I am. I have an abundance of space. Let's see. Unfortunately, this is where the first victim comes into play for Dorothea's murder spree. Now, mind you, if I didn't mention it before, Dorothea was actually charged for killing anywhere between 9 to 15 people.
Jeez.
9 to 15 people. That's a lot of fucking people. That if it's 15 people, that is the majority of her boarding home.
Yeah.
she,
I mean,
she
that's
killed she killed every person in a room.
yeah.
And that's where her first victim came into play. 61-year-old Ruth Monroe and Dorothea's friend. Her friend.
Wow. They weren't friends for long, or they weren't good friends at all.
Yeah, yeah, which is fucked up.
Very.
But Ruth died from the autopsy and
Toxicology.
toxicology report. Thank you.
Mm.
From an overdose of codeine and Tylenol. The death, however, was ruled a suicide, and family members denied these allegations as she didn't take codeine. It was not in her medicine plan. I mean, you're a
Medical history.
medical history. You are a heart patient. I am a diabetic. We have medications specifically made for us to take at specific times of the day, whatever the case. Codeine was not in that plan. So family members were very skeptical that she died of a suicide of that. They said that Ruth was actually a very loving woman. The only reason why she was living with Dorothea at the time was because she had nowhere else to live at the time. And they were friends, so she had a room. But it was one of the moments that family members thought was really odd. Victim number 2, Everson Gilmouth, 77 years old. In 1978, Dorothea was in prison at this time because she was forging checks again from her tenants and cashing them out. So, much like Ruth, she would sign a check for the amount of, let's just say, 200, 200, 300, 400, $500, go cash it. And now in the 70s, I mean, it's a little more, almost the 80s, the banks were a little more advanced and they're knowing, hey, can't be doing this shit. And she went to jail for it.
Oh,
prison.
for security purposes. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
they've evolved.
She
They
was
evolved.
she was actually sentenced to 5 years in prison on 34 counts of treasury fraud. 5 years on 34 counts of treasury fraud, but she only served 2 years. She then hunted for older men at bars with the benefits with benefit checks. This is where the social security checks come in. She even drugged 3 women under the roof and stole from them once she was out of prison. So with prison being the rehabilitation center, she was not rehabilitated. She just kept on a grudge and wanted more money.
She she just worked on the art of being a con.
Exactly. And this is where Everson comes in because in her time as her time passed in prison, she met a pen pal, and that was Everson. The pair eventually became a couple, boyfriend and girlfriend, not husband and wife. And when the day came when she was released from prison, Everson was able to pick her up in a red Ford pickup. Fucking Ford Ranger.
Jesus.
During her time in prison in 1985, a psychologist, a person who studies the brain of psychology of a pure person, said
Pearson.
this about about Dorothea. Now, I'm going to say what he said or what the
Hmm.
psychologist said, and I want you give me your honest opinion, okay? Psychologist said this, quote, "This woman is a disturbed woman who does not appear to have remorse or regret for whatever she has done. She is to be considered dangerous, and her living environment and or employment should be closely monitored." End quote.
And this was in the 80s, right?
This is 85.
Yeah. Well, social services dropped the ball on that one, didn't they? I mean, that's a big red flag.
The psychologist said he does not believe that she was rehabilitated. She had no remorse, no regret for anything that she said, done, or anything like that. She was considered he considered her, this psychologist, I don't know if it was a male or female. This psychologist considered her dangerous and that she needed to be monitored closely. That didn't happen. And what ended up
Well, I
happening?
mean,
Sorry, go ahead.
I want to say they probably didn't really.
Pay attention.
Um, well, no, that too. It was just all she was a piece of paper.
Yeah, that's very true.
She had a medical number. That's it. I mean, nothing really came of it. Who was going to do the follow up after the evaluation?
Mm, true. True.
So,
But what ended up happening after not being monitored closely, Dorothea ended up killing Everson and dumping his body near and somewhat in the Sacramento River. She was able to do this with the assistance of an unsuspecting handyman, Ismael Flores. She hired
yeah,
him.
yeah, yeah.
She asked Ismael to build, and this is very specific, by the way, uh, to build a 6 foot by 3 foot by 2 foot box to store
Hmm.
items and books. Now, if you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, a 6 foot by 3 foot by 2 foot box is roughly the size of a coffin. And
It's not
this,
a Foot Locker.
yeah, and this unfortunate Latino man was like, okay, and he built her, he built her a coffin. She gave him $800, and then even gave uh, Emerson's excuse me, Ford pickup as payment. And he thought it was weird. He was like, I don't know if I should take it. Is he that? And she was like, no, it's okay, take it. Uh,
He ended up living with her, correct? Or been?
he was living with her for a little while,
Yeah,
not too long.
yeah.
But once the box was made, the coffin was made technically, Dorothea asked Ismail to drive them out to a storage unit. When she asked him to pick up the box and put it into the trunk, he noticed it was extremely heavy. Now, mind you, 6 foot long, 2 foot high by 2 foot across. You can put a lot of stuff in there, whether it is books or rope or whatever you have to storage. You can put a lot of heavy things in there. But what he thought was odd is that when he picked it up from one side to put it into the truck, he felt a slide and a thud,
Yeah.
and then slid it into the truck. On the way to the storage unit, Dorothea said or asked Ismail to, quote, dump the box on the riverbank. And obviously, like any normal person, whether you're from Mexico or from any other nation, when you sense something is off, you do that little head tilt and is like, let me dump the
What
box
piqued his curiosity?
real fast. He did what he was told. He was working for her, and that technically, in a way, was his boss, and that's how he got paid. And
Yeah. Well,
it's not his fault technically. He didn't do anything. He didn't know anything. He didn't look inside of the box, so he didn't know. But that's exactly what he did. He dumped the box on the bank of the Sacramento River, and for one full year, Dorothea collected all of his pension checks. When Everson's body was found, it was so badly decayed, it took 3 years. 3 years to identify this guy.
that's gross, dude. But what I was gonna say, the odd thing too about it's not odd, but it's just I'm thinking about how these checks were mailed. So
Yep.
she sat and waited, knowing what she had did to another human for a monetary benefit
Yep.
every day of every month, and just waiting for the next.
Yep.
Foul, foul, foul.
But like I just said with the psychologist, she had no remorse for this. Now here comes another victim. This man was known as Chief. Now, God,
What?
just the 80s, 70s, 80s, people just were racist without even knowing it. this guy, this guy,
Discriminatory, yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
the guy
but
was a
some people
six
still do
foot,
it.
the guy was a 6 foot Native American, and they just called him by Chief. They just called him Chief.
Yeah, yeah.
But he was actually a really cool guy. He was actually a really friendly guy. Many speculate that Chief was hired by Dorothea as a handyman, much like Ismail, which, by the way, Ismail did not die. He did not. He was not killed by Dorothea. He was
He
actually
lived a while. He actually lived for a while.
a long
Yeah,
time. He actually provided a few interviews on a
yeah.
few television shows. So she hired him as a handyman to help move bodies of those that she killed. This is what a lot of people have claimed, because many neighbors claim to have heard and seen Chief dig holes in the basement through windows that are in the basement, as well as the backyard, that looked significantly large. He would often use a wheelbarrow to work and shovel out dirt. But after Chief went missing and no one saw or heard from him, suspicions started to raise. He's not a dude that you would miss. He's a 6 foot Native American dude, long hair, big guy. Like he was a fairly muscular. Um, and eventually another person went missing as well from her home. Like I said, she took in people. She took people in who were less fortunate, homeless, walking the street, mental disorders, if you were suffering from alcoholism, drug abuse. They were bringing these people into her home because she was known within the California system as a nice lady, as a
Yeah,
well respected woman.
yeah. She played the system well. She played
Well,
people well.
which is insane, because if they would have done just a little bit of research, they would have found that the psychologist was like, this bitch is crazy, don't give her
Oh yeah,
nobody.
yeah. You say that the background check failed.
Yeah. The next person who went missing from the Sacramento area was Alvaro Montoya. He had, this is the really unfortunate part, he had a developmentally disabled disorder and schizophrenia. Reported him missing after 3 missing appointments. And after this, it was like Tupac's song, All Eyes on Dorothea.
Mhm.
And then on November 11th, 1988, police were called to the home for a suspicious activity for missing tenants. When police arrived to Dorothea's home, she seemed shocked as to why the police were there. Police did provide a search warrant to search the premises, but they found nothing and eventually left the home. However, on their way out, one of the officers discovered a small patch in her front yard that looked like it was recently dug out. What police found in the soil was this: 7 bodies wrapped up in sheets and duct tape.
That was one hell of a fertilizer.
Yeah.
They were
7.
actually they were actually buried under her rose bushes.
Yes. Yes, they were. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yes, they were. Upon digging up the 7 bodies, Dorothea said she was shocked about what happened. Police even stated she looked like she was in shock of
Startled. Oh
what
my
they found.
goodness.
Dorothea then asked this question. Great question, by the way. Am I under arrest? to which
No.
to which the genius fucking officer, whoever this person was, said, "No, you're not." She then asked if she can go get a cup of coffee from around the corner. Same cop was like, "Yeah, that's fine. Just come back." This is literally what the cop said. Can you imagine? Just imagine if cops knocked on your door, or if you witnessed a cop knocking on your neighbor's door, and they were like, "Hey, your neighbor's arrested for murdering 12 people." And you're just watching this the whole time, and you see your neighbor come out, and they're like, "Hey guys, I'm gonna go get some Burger King real quick. You guys want something? You guys want anything?" That would be the weirdest It just doesn't make sense. Like, why would you let her leave? There's 7 bodies that you just found wrapped up in sheets and duct tape, and you're like, "Hey, yeah, can I get a caramel frappuccino also?"
Well, I tell you what, Central California or Northern California isn't really too bright when it comes to keeping records or being upholding any law. Don't forget, Joseph D'Angelo was a cop around that time,
Very true.
or just before that time. So
For those
you
who
know,
don't know who that is, the Golden State Killer. Eventually, what happened with Dorothea after not coming back for coffee, shockingly, uh, they found
you
out
mean
that
she did get her wallet?
yeah, she actually left with over $2,500 worth of Emerson's money in her purse at the time. Meanwhile, the dumb officer patiently waited for her return for the latte. Fucking idiot. Officer Johnson, what are you doing? Well, sir, Dorothea said she'd be back with my coffee, but it's been over 3 hours now.
I'm just
Uh,
waiting.
I'm just waiting. By the way, do we know how them bodies got there? Fucking genius guy. It wasn't until 4 days later when they found Dorothea in Los Angeles, where she attempted to hit on an elderly man at the bar. This guy
Yeah,
should have been a cop, because he was like, ma'am, is that you on the TV with 7 bodies in your front yard?" Fucking
oh boy, I
Christ.
tell you, I bet he sobered up real fucking quick when
Fuck
he
yeah, he
realized
did.
who that chick was.
You know what he was doing? He was probably sitting there
Oh
having
my
a
god.
real bad fucking day, and he was like, "Lord," just there with his beer, "I swear I'll stop drinking. Just give me a sign, please. Please give me a sign. Hello. Holy shit, it's Dorothea. Police."
If that ain't a sign from the Almighty to be like, it's time to change your life, pal, or this is gonna progress.
Yeah.
You will be victim number blank blank.
Fuck. I
Poor
props
bastard.
to that guy. Now, most of the victims were found to have a high amount of dalmine in their system. Now, this drug was a drug to treat insomnia. If you don't know what insomnia is, obviously it's you cannot fall asleep. It's very, very difficult for you to fall asleep. So you take this drug to fall asleep.
It's
And
like an Ambien.
every person who was found had this drug, as well as ketamine, or not ketamine, codeine, and Tylenol, and a few other things in their system. High amounts of this. Guess how many prescriptions Dorothea had for this one drug, just in her
Oh,
home. In her home when they found it,
you mean already filled bottles
filled
wise?
bottles wise.
Oh, I'd say a good dozen at least.
She had 4 dozen of these bottles.
4 dozen? She had
4
48?
dozen, 48 bottles.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, yeah,
Jeez.
in her home.
I'd say she had a plan to do this for a while.
You think? She goes down to LA.
Wow. Damn.
Yeah. Yeah. 48 fucking prescriptions of this one medication for insomnia. Dorothea Puente was convicted. She was convicted on the death of 9 people, but it is speculated that she had murdered up to 15. The victims' names are Ruth Monroe, Leona Carpenter, Alvaro Montoya, excuse me, Dorothy Miller, Benjamin Fick, James Gallup, Vera Faye Martin, Betty Palmer, Everson Gilmouth, and of course Chief.
So wait, these are only she was only held accountable for what happened in the house, nothing prior?
Correct.
Oh,
Yeah, she was
okay.
only convicted of 9 people, of 9 murders, which in and of itself is fucking insane. And then
Yeah.
on March 27th, 2001, this broad lived until 2011. I'm sorry, not 2001, 2011. Internet, iPhone,
Yeah. The
laptop,
beginning of it.
the
The
beginning of
beginning of it.
Facebook.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
While serving time in a Chowchilla prison, Dorothea Puente died of natural causes at the age of 82. When she was
82
convicted,
years old.
she was convicted on 9 life sentences.
Well, it's safe to say she wasn't going to make it out of one life sentence.
No, not at all. No. She was 82 when she died. Crazy though, right?
No, well, I mean, yeah, just the case alone is disturbing just by knowing how. I mean, I'm not a law student, but just knowing how the social system has changed. Pharmaceuticals, allowances have changed. Pharmacies are much more looked into. Inking system, all the types of evolution. Now, unfortunately, it's a criminal case, but it does bring to light a lot of how much evolution the systems have evolved: banking, medical, social,
All of it.
mental.
All of it.
Hell, even the TV that, the dude that's sitting at the bar, they were able to produce a live feed, and just he happened to look up and boom, there's the same picture. I tell you what, that motherfucker, I don't know if he did or if he didn't, but that dude should have bought a lottery ticket because that motherfucker just got lucky.
Lastly, for those who don't know, the murder house of Dorothea Puente was also featured on an episode of Ghost Adventures, where they actually collected a lot of evidence. Now, I don't know if anyone believes in ghosts. Obviously, we do. But they brought over 2 psychic mediums, one who draws photos of people who she connects with, and another gentleman, which I believe they're in a relationship.
Yeah, their husband and wife.
Her husband and wife, and
Yeah, from England.
Yeah, from England. Yeah, cheerio, hello. Yeah, they what's it called? They went there and they had no clue when they went, or at least that's what they say, what they were going to find, and they ended up finding a lot of evidence. And even at one point in time, the male psychic, I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't remember their names either.
But apparently the home was renovated.
Marty. His name's Marty.
Marty, there you go.
Yeah.
Marty saw a wall which was separating the kitchen, I believe the kitchen from the front room, and it was eventually knocked down. Well, no one knew about this wall because that wall had blood on it. So they had to, the police, when all this, or not blood, it had something on it.
Probably
And the police,
body splatter.
it had something, but the police had to remove that wall. And no one knew that. And he literally was like, I don't know, I'm getting this weird feeling of this wall that had to be moved or taken out. But yeah, he picked it up. It was pretty spot on.
That was a good episode too.
It was a great episode. If anyone's wondering, it's called Dorothea Puente Murder House. It is on Discovery Plus, which I highly recommend if you don't have it. Season 13, episode 5. It's really, really good. Highly go check it out. And that, ladies and genitals, is our episode.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! That was one crime that two guys just covered for you. Look at that. Technically, it was like 19 different crimes, but yeah.
Yeah, and I think the old man, he had died earlier. I remember seeing an episode, and I don't think it was Ghost Adventures, but there was an episode of him being interviewed, and within the last 10 years, I want to say he had passed away.
The handyman.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, his daughter was part of the interview. So yeah.
Oh wow.
He was talking highly about. He didn't say anything ill about Dorothea. He just thought everything was odd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, she hid her psychotic episodes very well.
That's a crazy person for you. But yes, that is the episode. This was episode 60.
Is it?
This is 60. The last one was 59.
Oh, there you go.
Or this might be 61.
60.
I don't know. We'll see. But it's 60 or 61. But all right.
It's an episode.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you, everyone, for following along with us and coming back.
Enjoy.
Yeah. I hope you enjoyed this one. This one should be out within the next couple weeks. And if you would like to help support the podcast, if you can go to our Flow page, you're located on Instagram, or just type in flow.page/2guys1crime. Yeah. Change that up. What's up?
Did you change it on YouTube also?
I changed it all. Yep.
Okay.
You will be able to find our Buy Me a Coffee link. It's not necessarily coffee. It's not necessarily pizza or beer, as they say it on the website. It's more to just support the podcast. Any money that you guys give to us, we use and put it back into the podcast, whether it's merchandise such as stickers or, t-shirts, which we're still trying to get into, but right now, time-wise, we don't have it, and money-wise, we definitely don't have it. But it is how we put back into the podcast and make it a little bit better for you guys. So thank you.
Yeah, believe it or not, these subscriptions are free, but in order to put out free shit, he has a job. I put in money. We still got to pay electricity, internet,
bills,
blah, blah, blah.
These lights that you can't see right now because this is only audio is not cheap.
It goes on. So free content cost to you listeners, which is why we do it.
Yeah.
But, it's like every other small independent podcast. It costs money to do something that we like. For us, it's a hobby.
And it is fun. And I genuinely enjoy doing this. So thank you, everyone, for stopping by. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Please be sure to head over to our Flow page. Like I said, flow.page/2guys1crime. All of our social media is there. Follow us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Spotify. You can actually leave ratings on Spotify now too. So that'd be cool if you guys can leave a 5-star review, as well as Apple Podcasts.
Podchaser,
Podbean, I don't know. Google, Amazon. We're on Amazon Music. Thank you, everyone. Hope everyone has a wonderful, not so murderous, bouncy check, crazy ass old woman day. But I hope you have a wonderful day. Stay
and may
safe
you
out
not
there.
be buried under the rose bush. roaches.
Yeah, don't be tied up in sheets and duct tape in a rose bush. Have a good day, everybody. Love you. Peace.
Adios, everyone.
Talk to you later.
Later. I highly recommend the Doublelicious.
Agreed. I like the sour stormtrooper. That one was really good.
Was it?
Yeah, that one was real good. And
Yeah,
also
12%.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I drank that before we went to Las Vegas. My wife and I was cool the entire trip.
They do have a lot of UK people who travel. I mean,
They
that's
do.
what funds. That's their economic
Remember
tourist.
when your middle son wanted to have a friend from the UK? He said he
Yeah.
wanted to walk around San Francisco with a sign that says, "I have a friend." I have a friend from the UK.